a great tackle by Steve Tasker.
Into the end zone, touchdown, touchdown.
And he's got it at the 10-yard line.
Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown Buffalo. The Bills win it in overtime.
Welcome back to hour number 3 of the One Bills Live. Steve Tasker and Luke Tasker here with you. Luke sitting in for Matty Glab today. We're pleased to be joined now by Western New York native, a former Buffalo Bills wide receiver from 2010 to 2012. He was a St. Joe's Academy graduate. Spent the last 6 years in the CFL playing for the Saskatchewan Roughriders and recently signed a new contract with the Montreal Alouettes. Naaman Roosevelt. Naaman, Steve, and Luke, how you doing, man? Are you doing okay during the pandemic?
Yeah, I'm staying safe, guys. How y'all doing?
We're doing probably better than we deserve, truth be known. But what have you been? I know that you guys got to stay ready. You don't know what's going to happen with the CFL. What have you been doing this off season? Who you been working out with? Where you been doing it? What's going on with you in your football career right now?
Yeah, so I've been staying in shape. I've been training. Anywhere I can get a field, and Chad Kelly's been around, so I've been training with Chad Kelly. We've been getting after it, so it's been getting some good work. And I've also been training a couple kids. I started a training program, so I get like two or three kids, every couple of days. And we continue to do social distancing, but just training and always staying in football shape.
Naaman, man, it is good to talk to you again. We've Naaman and I have trained together for the last 5 off seasons, and I'm missing you this year, man. We everything's different. There's no more gyms open. There's no more anything, and it's good to hear that you're training and getting ready. How fill us in a little bit on your new contract with Montreal and what you're thinking about a little change in your the next step in your career.
Yeah, well, I was definitely excited. Montreal gave me an opportunity to keep playing. And, I've been having a great career in the CFL. I've been loving it, ever since I got up there. And, I'm trying to do what you've been doing for the past, couple of years. You've been balling up there, and, I just want to continue to keep balling. And, I've been excited. Montreal gave me an opportunity to go out there and play. And, too bad the season to start yet. I thought it'd be a good year. We had a good team, up there. So we'll see what happens. I know they've been, we haven't been hearing anything. I just been reading what Twitter been, talking about. So. I've been hearing 8 games to 6 games to, who knows. So I'm just waiting on that call.
Yeah, go ahead, Dad.
Yeah, we're talking to Naaman Roosevelt, a former Buffalo Bills wide receiver, about the CFL. Now, Naaman, the NFL's watching every other sports league, and it's got to be watching the CFL and how they're handling it. And the CFL has really just kind of turned the lights out for a minute, right? I mean, you say you're not getting much information at all, and there's all sorts of rumors flying around. What do you think the next step is for the CFL and their return to play, if at all, this year?
Well, it's going to be pretty hard. I'm looking at it as it's probably not going to be a season. That's what I'm looking at it as. It's just too many obstacles, too many things going on. I know Canada's pretty scared about getting all the American, players, especially, you got a bunch of players from Florida and Texas and a lot of southern states. So, I don't know how.
It's a tough aspect of the CFL is that there's a border, an entire border closed between half of the working force of the CFL. So it's another very large obstacle that the CFL's dealing with that isn't as particularly of interest for the NFL.
Sure.
I know that early on in the pandemic situation, I think it was Calgary made the statement that there was going to be no public gatherings of any kind. Especially including a stadium full of people. I think it was into September. So there's a lot of facets. I think, Naaman, it seems to me that's led to the radio silence. I think there's just so much unknown across both countries that really there's just no decisions to be made. And just like the NFL, the CFL and the CFLPA are, trying to decide what that means for player compensation and player safety. Honestly, Naaman, if I had to guess too, it seems like you agree with me that it seems like there's a pretty decent chance that a season might not happen in Canada this year.
Yeah, it's just too many obstacles. It's going to be too hard. And I heard I heard a couple of weeks ago about trying to have it in Winnipeg and trying to have every team in Winnipeg and try to do what the NBA is doing with just like a hub city. But that's too many players, too many teams. It's just too much.
It is, and the NFL was, Dad, you mentioned this before. They were the sports league that was maybe you could argue least affected by the virus because of the season of play, and the CFL was a little bit harder hit by that. This should be week 5, I think, of the CFL season right now. Week 4, week 5. So it's already eating into what should have been regular season games.
Yeah, crazy.
We're talking to Naaman Roosevelt, former Buffalo Bills wide receiver in the CFL. Now, Naaman, we had this conversation a little bit, and talking about you just signed a new contract with a new team in Montreal. You've played in the CFL for 6 years. You were in the NFL for a couple of years. This article came out on NFL.com about players remembering the best decision they ever made in their football career, and also guys who remembered their biggest regret about their football career. Can you give us, first of all, give us your biggest regret. Is there a big regret you have about football in your career and the way it went?
I would say probably my senior year. So I get hurt at UB. I get hurt my senior year, tear my meniscus. And I feel like I rushed too. I feel like that was one mistake I probably should have waited. I rushed back too fast. I got surgery like probably 4 weeks before the East-West Shrine game, and I was just, my agent like, yeah, you go play and then go do this, and I was just so determined to go play, and I was just not healthy. So I just feel like that was one of the things where it just kind of slowed me down, slowed the process down. Where if I would have just took it one day at a time, took it weeks at a time, just relaxed and really focus on getting back healthy instead of rushing back on the field. I think that's one of the biggest regrets I could have, I made in my football career, was just was rushing back too fast.
What was that experience in the East-West Shrine game? And obviously it eventually led to you, being on the Bills roster for the time after that. What was that experience and that process going into the NFL?
Well, with the Shrine game, it was crazy. From UB practices having maybe 2 to 3 scouts there, and now every practice at the Shrine game you got 40, 50 NFL scouts watching every move you make and everything you do. So I think that was the biggest thing, and having a bunch of meetings, scouts asking you every type of question, wanting to know everything about you, and just the process of that was just something that was just crazy, and definitely experienced.
Yeah, and as you think back on it now, and it's hard to go into the hypotheticals, do you think that could, if you were healthy at the Shrine game, or if you didn't play in the Shrine game, do you think it hurt you that they saw you and knew that you were, had just had surgery? Do you think that hurt you, or do you think it helped you in a way that at least they got to know who kind of guy you were? I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword. You don't want to not go to the Shrine game, but then again, you don't want to show up and not play your best either. And that's kind of the conundrum that you're in as a young player, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a hard decision because, I feel like I went there and showed them everything I could do, but I still got there and I feel like, I wasn't all the way healthy. My knee wasn't the same yet, and I feel like I could have, went to the game but not played in the game when I did practices. Maybe just did the meetings, talked to the NFL teams, and just showed them that I really wanted to be there, and I really cared about this game, and really took my time with getting back healthy. Working on my 40, working on my time. So I feel like it hurt me in that aspect of just, getting my my best foot forward with just being healthy, just getting ready for the pro day. Like, once this pro day come, I'm gonna be 100% healthy. I'm gonna be ready to go.
Now I got a question for both of you. And you can tell me, and this is for young players who are out there listening, or their parents or whatever. Luke, I saw you grow up. I watched your career. Naaman, I caught on to you about when you were at St. Joe's and kept track of you after that. When did it hit either one of you guys that the next level after college might be a possibility, that you might get a chance to play professional football? And when did it really dawn on you that you had a chance to do that? You go first, Luke, and then let Naaman go.
There was a distinct moment at my freshman year at St. Francis, and I went to St. Francis hoping to play college football after graduating. But my first game as a freshman, and I had 4 interceptions and threw a touchdown pass. And I thought to myself, man, like this. First of all, I really do love this, and second of all, maybe I probably weighed 115 pounds at that time, but I said maybe I could have a chance if I keep on doing this. I will say that at the end of that, so I was a freshman playing on the JV team, and at the end of that season, I got moved up to varsity and I was playing free safety in the championship game. And Naaman knows what I'm going to say because we've talked about this so many times.
I was thinking about this too. Go ahead. Yeah, I know exactly what you're going to say.
That season ended with with us getting beat by St. Joe's, led by the Naaman Roosevelt, the Western New York All-Star. But also, I was 6 inches from intercepting Naaman Roosevelt as a freshman, and instead it was a 40-yard gain down the middle to who was your receiver name? His name slips my mind.
Was it Devin? I mean, was it Dom Cook? Was it Cook on that one?
Yeah, Dominic Cook, of course. That's how my freshman year ended. But it started with a bright note of maybe hoping I could play after high school.
Naaman, what about you? When did it dawn on you that you're going to go to the next level and maybe beyond?
Well, to play in the NFL was probably going into my junior year when I had a real breakout season, playing receiver. So I went to UB to play quarterback. So it took me about 2 years to really learn how to play receiver, how to line up right, how to be where I'm supposed to be on the field and understanding, coverages and where I'm supposed to be. And I think my junior year was when I really had a breakout year and when scouts started hitting me up on Facebook. I think Facebook was the one thing where agents and a bunch of agents hit you up and they're in your DM. So I think that was okay, wow, this might really be happening. I can make it to the next level. So I think that was one of the the moments where when agents started hitting me up, I started feeling confidence in myself at playing receiver and started understanding the game. Was wow, this might really happen. So I think that was the time my junior year at UB.
Yeah, for me, I'll tell you, it was about like Naaman for me when back in the early 80s, mid 80s, when I was coming out of college. They used to do it where they didn't have pro days back then, but what would happen is the scouts, like they always do, they travel everywhere. So every so often a scout would come through Evanston. I was going to Northwestern University. We were playing in the Big Ten, and a scout would kind of drop by the school, and I'd get like 24 hours or 48 hours notice, say, hey, listen, on Tuesday, the scout from the Bengals is going to drop by, wants to look at you. Can you be available? And I said, yeah. Of course you say yes. So I'd go do that. And when I started running for these guys, they were, it's just doing a little, well, you guys know what it's like. I mean, you're jumping, they're measuring you, they get your height, your weight, they have you bench, they have you run a 40, they have you do a cone drill and all that stuff. And I got the feeling from the reaction of the scouts that my testing, the physical testing they were giving me, I was testing pretty well, which kind of stuck with me throughout my career. I always, tested really well. Like my strength was good, my vertical was good, my 40 was good, that kind of stuff. So that's when it kind of dawned on me that I might get an opportunity at the next level. It was like my senior year of at Northwestern, where scouts, like you said, Naaman, scouts and agents start to hit you up and you start to get some attention from people outside the team that you're actually playing on. And that's, I'll never forget it. And you guys too. I mean, Naaman, for you, didn't it kind of give you a little flutter inside when guys started, paying attention to you, like saying, "Hey, son, I think you've got a future." To me, it was a huge compliment. It gave me a big thrill that somebody out there thought I might be able to play at the next level.
Definitely, no doubt. Yeah, when I'm getting messages in my Facebook inbox. I'm like, wow, this is really, this is special going on. So definitely, yeah.
Right.
So Naaman, the flip side of the earlier question of your regret in your career, and you said maybe you came back too early from an injured knee, and the other side of that question is what was the best decision that you made that's allowed you to now keep playing football? And it could be a career decision as to where you went or and why or something more unique or personal.
Well, I say, like I said, so coming out of St. Joe's, I was playing quarterback, and every other school that was recruiting me was like, maybe we can put him at corner, maybe somewhere on safety or defense, and I'm like, no, but UB came to me and they told me, hey, you're gonna come here, you're gonna play quarterback, we're gonna give you number 7, we're gonna give you all that. So as soon as I get to UB, me and Turner Gill, the coach, the coach when he first got there, he was like, I think I'm gonna move you to receiver. And that just broke my heart. Like, I was like, oh no, I never played receiver before. So I think we talked about it, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna give it my all. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna work and I'm gonna get better at it, and just keep working at receiver. We had a great quarterback in Drew Willie at the time too, so that also made it a little bit better that I know Drew Willie was gonna get the ball around. So I think that decision of continue to just keep fighting and keep working hard and just see how receiver went. And I mean, it helped out a lot. I continued to play receiver. And it was something special, I think. So making that decision of just I feel like he believed in me. He felt I can do it, and just believing in that decision and working hard at it, and just I feel like it paid off.
That helped.
What was your best
Drew Willie
moment?
being there? Sorry, Dad.
That's right.
Drew Willie
go
being there is it makes that decision easier when you've got a guy like that. And that's the years that I was being recruited by UB. It was watching you and Drew Willie and the offense you guys had. And I remember being at UB with your coaching staff for a watching the game recruiting trip. And I remember watching you right down run a like a cover 3 seam down the hash and catch a game-winning touchdown from Drew. It's incredible how that worked out. And then not even to make the story more interesting, Drew Willie went on to have a career in the CFL and was followed by myself and you to go up to the CFL. It's funny how it all clicked together.
Yeah. It's crazy. I know. When we talk about it, I mean, the football world is just so small. It's just like we always meet up, even with Zach Caleros. I mean, we used to play each other every year in high school. Like, he went to Steubenville, Ohio, and we played. Now, he was my quarterback a couple of years ago. So it's just crazy how how the world works.
It's funny.
Naaman, think back on it. You've been in the pros now for half a dozen years. You had a couple of years as well in the CFL, half dozen years, a couple of years in the NFL. Can you think back across your career? And I know it's not over yet, but what were some of the moments that you're always going to remember when you're even as old as I am now? You think back, what are the highlights, maybe some of the great moments you've had in your career so far? The first one was, running out of Ralph Wilson Stadium, my first time with the Bills and running out of, Ralph Wilson Stadium and, just being a kid going to the games when I was younger and, just to have that feeling of now, like, wow, like I'm on the field running through the tunnel and like, man, that just, it brought tears to my eyes the first time I did that. It was just something special. And also, I feel like the touchdown I had against the Giants, I feel like that was just, it was just something where it was like, man, just run, catch the ball and just run. Like, don't get caught from behind. So I think that was just something also that was just, a special moment, where I always remember. Yeah, I remember that touchdown as well. I know I came up off the couch when I saw it as well. It was good to see. And I thought you might say that, but I know that you've had a lot of great moments in the CFL as well, and we're looking forward to seeing more of those too. I don't know, have they given you any information at the CFL as to what will happen to your contract for this year? If there isn't, let's just say there's not going to be a season. Do they just notch back the contracts 1 year, or do the contracts go void if this was the last year of their contracts? Have you gotten any indication at all about the legalities going forward in the CFL?
Well, we haven't heard a thing. Like, I just been hearing from a couple of CFLPA members about just maybe we'll be free agents next year if you had a 1-year contract or maybe it'll continue till next year, but we just haven't heard anything. Like, it hasn't been no emails sent out, no conference calls, not a thing. So we just been following Twitter and following a couple reporters that hear stuff. So we all unfortunately, we don't have no idea.
Yeah, unfortunately, the news that we are getting from the CFL and the CFLPA is effectively just sort of rehashing the fact that it's really not there's not really a very the negotiations between the league and the CFL and the PA, I should say, are not going very well. I think they're finding it very, very hard to come to terms as to what to do with the league and with the games that should be played, with compensation. So, unfortunately, that's the most news, is that it's really hard to make a decision about any of this stuff. So it's all to be seen, and will be determined in the next few weeks and months with the CFL.
Yeah.
Naaman, thanks so much for taking some time. I appreciate you coming on. I know Luke was looking forward to talking with you, and so was I. I'm glad you're doing well. I wish you the best of luck in the rest of your CFL career, and I hope it lasts another decade, my friend. Be good.
No doubt, Steve, Luke, thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, Naaman. Good talking to you, man. I'll see you.